Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the CMA Show. I'm Nathan, and I'm here to help you accelerate your career and income to a six-figure salary as a certified management accountant. I'm very excited to be here because it's a brand new episode, and I'll get to spend an hour with you and answer your questions. But at the top of the hour, what I'll do is answer the question, what is the cost of the CMA exam? Some of you know what the cost is. Some of you may not be aware, but I'll go over that today. And I'll also talk about the hidden cost of the CMA. And probably most of you may not be aware of this. So I want to make sure that I share that with you so that moving forward, you know of the hidden cost. Let me see who is here today. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. Satyam, hello, welcome back. You were here last week, so I'm glad you're here again. Sufiyan, welcome. Uday, welcome to the call. Glad to see you guys. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to know. I know we have people from all over the world, which is very exciting. Okay, so at the top of the hour, what I'll talk about is the cost of the CMA exam, like I said. And some of you may know, some of you may not know, but I'll go over that today. And once I'm done with that topic, we'll dive into live Q&A. I'll start answering all your questions. What's up, Tony? Tony from Maine. All right. Glad you could make it to today's show. Thank you for being here. So after I cover that question, we'll dive into Q&A. So feel free to drop your questions in the comments throughout the show, and I'll make sure that within an hour, I go through all of them. So that way, when you leave today, you leave with answers and you know what to do next. Udai's tuning in from India. Hello. Remedios, welcome to today's show. Glad to have you. Excellent. All right, so I'm going to have a sip of my coffee real quick. Sufiyan is from India. Well, right now I am in California, San Diego, Southern California. Super happy to be here. Super pumped and ready. I hope you guys are too. So we're going to have a really good show, educational, and most of all, we'll have fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the show. All right, excellent. Mustafa, welcome to today's show, my friend. You were here last week as well. It's always good to see you. One of the things that I love about these live shows is that I'm starting to see familiar faces every week. I feel like I'm getting to know you guys better, and I hope that you guys are getting to know me better as well. Safa, hello, from Sudan as well. So we got two people from Sudan today. That's awesome, Mustafa and Safa. That is fantastic. All right, so let's talk about today's topic real quick, and then we'll dive into Q&A, okay? So the question is, how much is the CMA exam? It seems like a pretty straightforward question, but let me tell you, sometimes it's not. So to start, you got to pay for your exam, right? The exam is $415 per part, and it's a two-part exam. Okay, so it's something to take into account. If you are a college student, then the cost per part is $311. So it's definitely lower, more affordable because you're in college and whatnot. Now, to enter the CMA program, you need to pay an additional fee, and that's $250 for just a one-time fee. And for students, and that's for professionals, for students is $188. So there we go, two fees, the exam fee and the CMA entrance program fee. Next is the IMA membership that you gotta pay annually. So this is an annual fee. For professionals, it's $230. For students, it's only $39, which is very affordable. Okay, so that's the cost of the CMA exam, the IMA membership, and the CMA entrance program. Now, I also want to talk to you guys today about the hidden costs of the CMA, and most people don't think about this, and that's the opportunity cost of not pursuing the CMA. So when I share with you guys the fees for each exam part and the entrance fee and the membership fee, adds up, and people may consider that too expensive. But I would like for you to consider also the opportunity cost of not pursuing the CMA. And that's something that most people don't talk about. We know that CMAs on average earn six figures. So if you're not earning six figures today, then by not pursuing the CMA and making that investment into your future, you are foregoing that salary increase. So by saving a couple $1,000s, which is a lot of money, but by not investing in yourself, then that means that you are foregoing tens of thousands of dollars in salary potential. So that's the hidden cost of not pursuing the CMA. And I wanted to bring that to your attention so you can, do the analysis of pros and cons and see if this is something that makes sense for you financially, if it makes sense for you career-wise. And let me tell you, from personal experience, it's made all the difference. All the difference. One of the reasons why I was pursuing the CMA was to get out of debt, because I needed to get a higher paying job, just because I had a lot of student loans, car payments, some credit card debt. So it was a tough decision for me to pursue the CMA because it was a big investment. But after seeing that there's a benefit to it that can help me move up the ladder quicker, I did that and it paid off. So that's why I'm so passionate about the CMA and the benefits that this designation will bring to you in your career, and not just to you, but to you and your family. If you have kids, if you got a spouse, this can definitely increase your earning potential, and not just for 1 year or 2 years. This is for the rest of your career. So if you are in your 20s, in your 30s, even in your 40s, and even in your 50s too, it only takes 8 months to prepare for both exams. You pass both exams, you get certified, and then you're gonna start seeing an increase in your earning potential year after year. So if I was in my 50s, I plan to stay in the workforce until I'm 65. So I have another 10 plus years, probably 15 years or so. So it makes sense to pursue the CMA because it takes less than a year. More so if you are in your 20s, in your 30s, man, you have a lot of time. I pursued my CMA in my late 20s, and I'm so happy that I did because I've seen so much of the benefit of it in my corporate career. Now as an entrepreneur, that knowledge has helped me accelerate my career into the controller position when I was working in corporate, and now running CMA Exam Academy, helping you guys pass the CMA exam just like I did. So I wanted to talk about that. So there's an opportunity cost of not pursuing the CMA. So do the math. And if you want to go back to a previous video that I've recorded on YouTube, you can go back there after today's show and watch the salary potential for CMAs. I dive into the numbers, and you can see where you are today in your salary compared to where you could be with the CMA. Do the math there, compare that increase to the investment of becoming a CMA, and then I think that will paint a very clear picture as to if it's worth it or not. All right, so having said that, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. So now we can dive into Q&A. Are you guys ready? This is the part that I have a lot of fun in because I get to chat with you guys and help out as much as I can. We have exactly 50 minutes to go into questions, so feel free to ask as much as you like. But before we do, if you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please do so. Subscribe to the channel. This Monday, I have a new video coming out where I'm gonna talk about CMA exam calculators. That's a question that I get asked a lot. Which calculator should I use? Which calculator do you recommend, Nathan? Can I take my calculator to the testing center? So I'm gonna go over those questions on the video that's publishing on Monday. So if you subscribe to the show, you'll be notified when that video goes up so you don't miss it, all right? So having said that, we can dive into the questions here. Okay, so let's see. Hello, Satyam. Welcome to the show, my friend. You were eagerly waiting for the show? Well, that's great. I'm happy to be here and provide guidance and assistance. All right, here we go. Let's see. First question. Is it worth doing the CMA? So Satyam has a question. Is it worth doing the US CMA from India where the Indian currency is rupees? Yeah, of course. I have so many students in India, and not just my students, but I know that a lot of people in India are studying for the US CMA exam. They want to earn the US CMA designation. And that's because the difference, and I've covered this before, but if you were not here last week, I'm happy to go over that again, is that the US CMA is a global designation. It's like a global passport, and that designation is recognized all around the world. The India CMA is specifically just for India. So if you want to work for an international or multinational company, or if you want to travel and work outside India, then the US CMA is definitely the best option. But if you plan to stay in India and you don't plan to work for any multinational or international company or anything like that, then the Indian CMA is fine as well. Accounting, as far as accounting systems, the US CMA, you will learn about GAAP and IFRS. So those are the two main types of accounting systems or methods that you will learn. Let's see. Sufiyan is asking, hello, Nathan. I started preparing for part 2. Can you suggest how many hours should I study and how can I prepare? All right, Sufiyan, that's a great question. If you are self-studying, I would say start with about 15 to 20 hours a week, probably more on the 20 hour per week, just to be safe, because when you self-study, you have to figure out what to study every week. So you got to plan it out. You need your calendar and kind of break out the topics into different milestones, right? So there's a lot of work that goes into that. And you got to keep yourself accountable. You got to take practice exams. So start with 20 hours a week and go from there. Maybe it's too much, maybe it's too little, maybe it's just the right amount of time, but it really depends on every individual. It depends on your degree. Do you have an accounting major? Do you have a finance major? Part 2 is really focused on finance. So if you have a finance degree, then probably you won't need 20 hours. You may need less because the subject matter will be very familiar to you. But if you don't, and if you self-study, then probably I would suggest to spend that much time every week. And after like 3-4 weeks, you will have a really good idea whether 20 hours is just way too much, or perhaps it's just the right amount of time. You can adjust as you go. But as a rule of thumb, if you self-study, start with 20. When I was self-studying for my exam, because that was the only option on the market at the time, I was burning 25, 30 hours a week just studying. So take it from me, it was tough, but I think I burned more hours than I had to. And that's one of the reasons why I created CMA Exam Academy. It's a 16-week program, and it's tailored to people who just want to plug and play kind of thing. They just want to know what to study every week, reach the milestones already laid out for them. And the entire 16-week program is what I've used to pass my exam. So I'm taking all the guessing game out of the equation. But like I said, if you self-study 20 hours, if you enroll in a program like mine that is guided every week, then probably you will need between 10 to 12 hours, maybe a little bit more, but not as much. So it really depends. But like I said, if you self-study, then go for that much time. Another question is, how can I prepare for essay questions? Very good question. The best way to prepare for essays is to, of course, take practice exams using retired essay questions. So your online test bank should have essay questions. If you do not have it, please let me know. I'll be happy to send you a link to my test bank. We have essay questions with model answers, so you can compare your essay response to a model answer and see how far you are from the actual model answer. But the best way to practice is taking essay practice exams. But of course, you need to study the material first and foremost, and this goes also to even before you start taking MCQs practice exams or even essays. Learn the material first. So read your textbook, study it well, and then once you're done studying, then go and take a practice exam. that will help you bridge the gap between knowledge and application. Okay? But it's a very good question. Thank you for asking. Hi, Uday. How are you? I'm doing good, Uday. Thank you for asking. It's Friday here in California, well, in the West Coast. Well, yeah, in the United States. And then this weekend, we're celebrating Independence Day. So I'm looking forward to having some time off, see some family, do a little barbecuing perhaps. But I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing good too. All right, let's see what questions do we have here. Mahabub, she says, "Hi, Mr. Nathan. Great to see you. It's great to see you as well. Thank you for tuning in to a new show, to a new episode of the CMA Show." Let's see. So Udai is asking, what kind of positions can CMAs have in a company? So we're looking into management accounting positions. At the very top, we have a chief financial officer. Next, VP of finance, accounting managers, senior accountants, staff accountants, controllers. You have corporate controllers, divisional controllers. Yeah, so those would be the main. And if you don't want to work in accounting, what's awesome about what you're going to learn from the CMA is that you can transfer that knowledge to different areas of the business. So, for example, if you love operations and you want to work in operations, normally a VP of operations handles the P&L of a division, right? It means revenues, cost, profit. And to do that, having the CMA knowledge will help you run an operational division so much better because you fully understand the finances behind it, the accounting behind it. And as we know, accounting is a language of business. So, like I said, if you want to work in operations, you absolutely can. If you prefer to work in technology, you absolutely can. We know that accounting is probably the biggest department. Well, it's the department that consumes the most technology in companies, right? So if you're a CMA who you have an inclination towards technology, you can work as a chief technology officer, and you will fully understand the needs of the CFO, of all the decision makers in your company. So you can create systems and reports that tailor to their needs so they can make better decisions. So you can work in many different areas of the business, but obviously the most obvious one is accounting and finance. Great question, Utai. Thank you for asking. Abhishek is asking, can we pursue the CMA during the pandemic? Absolutely, you can. Obviously, testing centers are open throughout the world, but not in every city. And right now, actually, some testing centers are closing down again because of the pandemic. And candidates who had scheduled their exam are having their exams canceled. But what happens is that Prometric will reach out to them within a week afterwards to try to reschedule a new exam date. Okay, so they're being proactive about it in helping CMA candidates reschedule their exam. There's no fee if your exam gets canceled. There's no fee to rebook it. Okay, the IMA is really working with everyone to make sure that if that happens, then candidates won't have to incur an additional fee just to reschedule it. So that's really awesome. But yeah, so I mean, the CMA per part takes about 4 months. Think of it, takes about 4 months to study per part. So if you start studying now, you have 4 months still, and we don't know where the pandemic is going to be in 4 months from now. Are we going to be fully open? Are we not going to be open? We don't know. But instead of trying to figure that out, why not invest our time today in something that we'll look back to and be grateful for? So 4 months from now, you could look back and say, hey, I watched amazing shows on Netflix or on TV or whatever, and that's it. That's all you have to show for. Or you could look back and be like, hey, I studied for my CMA Part 1 exam and I'm ready. So as soon as the Prometric Center opens, you could go and take your exam. So when you look back, you will feel good about yourself because you have invested your time wisely in you. You've invested in you because you want to pursue, have a better career, a better job down the road. So, and the time to prepare is today, not tomorrow, right? So yes, you can definitely study. And the cool thing about CMA review courses is that most are online. So it doesn't matter where you live. You can study from home. In the academy, all our material is online. The only thing is that we also ship textbooks in paperback, and we've been shipping all over the world with no issues at all. So, but we have all of our material online as well. Great question, Abhishek. Thank you for asking. Harsh is asking, hey, happy to see you again, sir. Happy to see you as well. Thank you for tuning in. His question is, do you think that we will have exams in next window, September, October? So as I was saying, the exam window is open, and actually the last exam window open is going to open in August. So the IMA extended the exam window from 2 months to 3 months. So it starts on August 1st and will end on October 31st. Okay, so it will open. Prometric centers are open around the world, but it's important that you go on their website and look and see the testing center near you to determine if they're open now. But like I said, we don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic 3-4 months from now. So the best thing you could do is study now, prepare, so that when testing centers do open up again, you'll be able to take your exam. Great question, though. Thank you for asking. And by the way, guys, if you have not gotten your free copy of my cheat sheet, CMA exam cheat sheet, all you have to do is click in the link in the description box below to grab it. It'll be sent to your email absolutely free. If you are listening on the podcast, the link to grab it is in the show notes. Just wanted to point that out. Harsh is asking, how many hours should we study per week for part one? I believe that the amount of hours you study for part one and part two is the same. There's really no difference. So if you plan to self-study, go for 15 to 20 hours, probably more in the 20 hours per week. Start there, and then you can adjust as you go after 2-3 weeks. But my suggestion is to start there and see what happens. You may not need as many hours, or you may need just as much, but it's a good starting point. Satyam is asking, does the U.S. accounting system, is it easy to understand? Well, it's an accounting system. Is it easy to understand? I mean, it's the one that I know, so I'm biased, and I would say, yeah, it's easy to understand. I think with anything, it's just a matter of learning it. I think all accounting systems from all over the world, you got GAAP, IFRS, and whatnot, there are going to be some variations, but for the most part, it's pretty standard. So if you can learn the Indian accounting system, you can definitely learn the US accounting system as well. Good question. All right. Here we have a question from Rajat. Rajat saying, hey Nathan, what was your first reaction when you passed your CMA exam? Rajat, I was stoked. I was so happy. I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you. Because like I said before in previous live shows, if you were not here, is that I spent about 25 to 30 hours a week studying for every part, just because I was self-studying and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I was doing it right, if I was doing it wrong. So I burnt a lot of hours just trying to figure things out. But when I took my exam, I finished it, I went home, I hoped for the best. And when I got my results, I was so stoked. Just because I put so much time into it, so much effort. And I don't think I've ever studied this hard for anything. So it felt really good. I was very proud of myself because I was really hoping to achieve this designation. And I didn't know if I could. One, because I was not very good in math, even though I majored in accounting, but still math was just not my forte. So I was nervous about that. But I did pretty good. I learned it enough, I guess. I was able to master it to pass this exam. And two, I knew that it was going to be tough. So I think that's why I felt really proud. I felt happy. And whenever my students email me and they say, hey, Nathan, I passed the exam after finishing the program, I am just so happy for them because I know the feeling. It's like reliving it every single time they email me and tell me that they passed the exam. Everybody's so happy. When you pass Rajat, you feel the same way because the amount of work that goes into preparing for the exam It's a lot of hours, a lot. I mean, also, you got to sacrifice a lot. When I was studying for the exam, I didn't go out with my friends. I was going to work, and right after work, I would go to a Starbucks and just get my coffee, sit there, and study all evening. Monday through Friday, I would go there on Saturdays. That was my second office in a way. So that's all I did. I barely saw any of my friends for like 3 months at a time. And my family, I did see them, but not as much. So there's a sacrifice component that goes into this, but it's worth it in the end because it's only temporary. And that's something that I had to remind myself. And I hope that whenever you feel like giving up, or you feel like the process is just too difficult or too hard, or that sometimes you may feel that it will never end, my friend, I can guarantee you that it will it will end. Just be consistent, keep going. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You will get it done, but the only way to get there is to take one step at a time. Even if it's a half a step on some days, that's fine. As long as you're progressing, as long as you keep moving forward, then you won't stagnate. The hardest part is when you start gaining momentum and then procrastination kicks in. And then you say, hey, I'll study tomorrow, or I'll study over the weekend. During the week, I just don't want to study. And what happens is that turns into another day, another week, sometimes another month, sometimes another year. Once procrastination sets in, it's really hard to gain momentum again. It takes double the effort. So my recommendation is when you guys start studying for the exam, don't stop. Just keep going. Even if it means reading half a page a day, that's okay. Because that creates the motion of positive movement. You're moving forward and you will build momentum. And before you know it, you will be studying 5, 6, 10 pages a day. But you got to build it slow. Okay? So don't stop, keep going, and before you know it, you will be done and time will fly. Anyways, all right. So I hope that was helpful. So let's move on to the next question. But before I do, I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee. What are you guys having today? What are you guys drinking? I'm having coffee. Actually, I'm having coffee. Let's see. Mustafa's asking: is it real that the CMA Part 1 exam question is 70% of the exam? So CMA Part 1 exam question. So you have the MCQ section of both parts, right? The exam format is the same for Part 1 and for Part 2. So you have 100 MCQs in both parts, and you have 3 hours to finish 100 MCQs, followed by 1 hour in which you need to finish 2 essay scenarios. And each essay scenario will have between 4 to 6 questions. So the format is the same, percentage-wise, 75-25, I believe it is. But yes. Now, a question that I get asked a lot is, if I score perfectly in the MCQ section, does that mean that even if I don't do well in the essay, I'll pass the exam? The answer is no. You need to do well. You need to do well in both sections of the exam. Once you're done with the exam, your exam will be processed through a scaling scoring system, and that will give you your final score. So it's not point by point like you're thinking, or like most people think. I mean, I thought the same way, but there's a different process to standardize the scoring system. Because also, your score is based on the level of difficulty of your exam. So some CMA exams are not as difficult as others. But let me explain this. So right here is the CMA, right? This is the threshold. It's going to be a very tough exam no matter what, but some exams are a little bit harder than others. So that plays a factor into your final score. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. Let's see, what else do we have? By the way, thanks for tuning in. This is great. Thank you for being here. Robob is asking a great question. What is the most difficult part of the exam? The most difficult part of the exam is going to be, I mean, if I had to really boil it down, I think is mindset. And by that, I mean the mindset of everything you've done before showing up to the testing center. Once you are at the testing center, it's one of those things. It's like a sports team. They will practice, 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 but when they show up to the game, all they have to do is just put into practice what they've practiced, right? They're training. If a team doesn't train very much, they don't train very hard, and they go and show up to the game, they're not going to perform well. Doesn't matter if they really want to perform well, probably they won't because they didn't prepare. So it goes back to mindset. So for the exam, when you show up to the exam, your performance is going to be a result of how you prepared the previous 4 or 5 months. That's what it comes down to. The exam is like your Super Bowl, and and you're gonna show up and do your best based on how you have prepared. So the most difficult part for most people is the process of studying and preparing for the exam, because it's one of those things you gotta fight. You gotta fight procrastination. You gotta fight with other responsibilities, other obligations. You gotta prioritize what is important during that time frame. I'll be studying for 4 months as an example, then I need to prioritize my CMA program, because what happens is candidates will try to do everything they've done in their normal life. Like they'll do everything, all the obligations or whatever. And on top of that, they are adding the CMA. And what happens is that they will feel overwhelmed because it's way too much to handle. So before you start the CMA journey, it's important to assess all your responsibilities that you have, your daily responsibilities at home, with friends, with family, whatnot, and then try to bring that down a little bit, try to see what you can cut, and then use that extra time to study. Then you will be able to have the energy to complete your program and do a really good job in your exam. So preparation is key, and mindset. I would say those two things, Rabab. I hope that was helpful. Tanya is asking a great question. Hi, Tanya. Says, hello, Nathan. I heard that there will be around 10 questions in the exam which do not get scored. It's like a pre-test question. Is it true? So, Tanya, you are correct. In the MCQ section, like I said, there are 100 MCQs. Out of the 100, 10 are not graded. The ICMA are just testing those questions for future exams. So it wouldn't be fair to grade you on a question that the ICMA is not 100% sure of yet. So 10 questions are not graded, but the thing is, we don't know which those questions are, and there's no way to find out. So my suggestion, I encourage you and everyone else, is to do your best with all 100 questions. Because like I said, we don't know which 10 are not graded. So instead of trying to game the exam, it's best to just do your best with all 100. Now, there may be some questions in there that are completely a curveball, that you haven't even read in your textbook, that the topic seems completely like from a different exam. So that could lead you to think that maybe that's not a graded question, and I would probably agree with you. But the thing is, we don't know for sure. It's best just to do your best with all 100. But Tanya, you are right. 10 are not graded. All right, everybody. This is awesome. Let me see. What else do we have? Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for participating. Harsh is asking, what kind of experience is required for membership? For an IMA membership, there's really no prerequisite. All you have to do is pay for your annual membership and you will get it. And you can enjoy the benefits that come with an IMA membership, like local chapters where you can network with other CMAs and future CMAs. So that's a great benefit that comes with the IMA membership. You get a monthly magazine which has amazing topics and content. I mean, the people that put those magazines together, it's called Strategic Finance. Those magazines are awesome. I read them every month. They're full of really good information. The value of the knowledge that I gain from those magazines pay for the membership right away. I mean, the value is just great. So for that reason alone, I would encourage you to get your IMA membership. and there's really no prerequisite. You just got to pay the fee to the IMA directly. Mustafa is asking if 70% of the questions are theoretical questions. Mustafa, that is not true if you have heard that from other people. And I say that because there's no way to know the ratio of computational versus theoretical questions that you'll get in the exam. And if you hear anybody tell you otherwise, it's just not true. Unless they work at the ICMA and they're the ones who write the exam. But I can guarantee you they will never disclose that information. Even the IMA doesn't know that. Only the ICMA knows the ratio of questions you'll get. And also, it's a computerized exam, so it's going to be at random too. So if anybody's telling you that, 70% of the questions are going to be theoretical, 20% are going to be computational or whatever, I would say don't believe that because it's not true. Nobody knows, Mustafa. I'll be careful. Receiving that advice from anyone. Okay, this is great. So Devansh is asking what am I currently doing? Tell us something about your job. So Devansh, right now, I run CMA Exam Academy full time. You can go check it out whenever you'd like, cmaexamacademy.com. It's the online instructor-led course that helps accountants pass the CMA exam on their first try. So I devote all of my time helping my students pass the exam. We have a pass rate of above 90%. So I'm very proud of myself and my team because we're helping candidates pass in droves. So that's my focus right now. We focus on our textbooks, our video lectures, answering questions to our students, providing coaching support. So that's what I do now on a daily basis. My ultimate mission is to help all professionals achieve a six-figure salary through the CMA designation. I know it's possible because I've lived through that. When I became a CMA, I began earning six figures in my corporate job many years ago. And so I saw the benefit of earning my CMA. So I think because of that, I am very passionate about helping others reach that goal too. Okay, so that's really my focus. That's my mission. And I've been doing it for many years, 7 years now. So that's been my focus for 7 years. I appreciate your question. Satyam is saying, Nathan, now you have a guy from India, see you every Friday for 3 years or so. Much Satyam, I'm happy to be here, and I'll be doing this for as long as I can. I enjoy having these live shows, interacting with you guys live, answering questions. It's my passion. I love helping people get their CMA. That's what I do. So I know you. I think from the last show that we had, I think you mentioned that you are starting college. So best of luck with that. You're going to do great. And if you still want to be informed about the CMA, I'll be here every Friday. Here we have a great question. Hello, Nathan. How can I study for the CMA exam while working for 11 hours a day? Whoa. Muzamil, that's a lot of hours. If you work 11 hours a day, I don't know what other responsibilities you may have at home with family or whatever. I think that 11 hours is a lot, but it's your job, right? So you got to do it. So if you plan to study for the CMA exam, I would say take it slow. Maybe you will not be able to finish your program in 4 months. Maybe it will take you 7 months, maybe 6 months. It will take you longer because you'll be studying in smaller chunks. It is possible, but it's going to require a lot of discipline, and I know you can do it. You just got to set your mind to it and decide that the CMA is the next thing you want to achieve and make it a personal goal. And I think that if you commit to it and you study in smaller chunks, like maybe an hour a day, if you can, or maybe you can listen to audio lectures, right? So there are different modalities that you can learn as you do different things throughout the day. But it will take you longer than 4 months. It may take you, like I said, maybe 6 months, maybe 7 months. I'd be concerned if you need to study for more than 7 months per part, because knowledge retention can become an issue after a long while. So think about that. But if you want to pursue it, then you can, but you just got to commit to it all the way, my friend. It is possible. Here's a question again. So 11 hours a day except weekends, only Sundays. Yeah. So just at a slower pace, Muzamil, at a slower pace. You'll get there. But like I said earlier, it's about taking one step forward at a time. That's all we can do, right? Progress is super important. Rajad is saying application fee of $15 required. Yes, that's right. There's a $15 application fee with the IMA. It's a one-time fee. That's it. That is very correct. Thank you, Rajat. Oh, Tanya is asking, can we keep the essays brief and to the point, or should we answer in detail? Tanya, the essay needs to be as long as it needs to be to answer the question. The goal should not be to make it short or to make it long. Okay, the goal needs to be you need to write for as much as you need to answer the question. It's better not to take shortcuts with essays, because after all, it is an essay, right? So the expectation is that you will write and provide supporting information as to why you think your answer is correct. So just write it out, answering the question, and if it's a short, then it's short. But if it's long, then leave it at that. But the focus should not be should I do it short or long, right? But having said that, too short of an answer is just too short. It is an essay after all. So the expectation is that you will write and explain your answer. But that's a great question, Tanya. Thank you for asking. You are very welcome, Satyam. Muzamil, you're very welcome as well. Thank you for being here today. So, wow, we finished all the questions and we got 15 minutes left on the clock. This is pretty cool. I appreciate all of you tuning in, and I hope that you got all the answers. Now, I do want to remind you guys to please subscribe to the show, subscribe to the channel. There's a new video coming up this Monday, and it's about CMA exam calculators. And I know that there are many questions about that, so I'm going to dive into the various calculators and which one is my all-time favorite. This is the calculator that I used for the CMA exam, and I still have it today. Here, I won't show you, but here it is. This is the calculator I love. And I'll dive into the model and the maker of the calculator in Monday's video. So definitely subscribe so you can watch that. Let's see. Oh, great. Here we have, we got more questions. That's awesome. So Udai is asking, what is your advice? Which part should we take first? Part 1 or part 2? It depends, Udai. I think that if you are an accounting major, then going for part 1 makes sense, because you'll be tested on accounting topics the most. If you are a finance major, then go for part 2 first, because it's definitely more finance driven than part 1. Okay, so those will be my 2 recommendations. If you don't have an accounting degree or a finance degree, then I would suggest to look at the content outline for each part and just choose the one that seems more interesting to you. At least that way it'll keep your interest long enough to finish the part, and then you can take that momentum into the second part. Let's see. Rabab is asking for some recommendations for some essay questions. Rabab, yes, there are essay questions in my test bank. Just go to cmaexamacademy.com and you can find my test bank there. We have loaded essay questions that you can practice with. It has model answers, so that way you can compare your essay question or your essay response to our essay model response. Here's another question. Nathan, should I learn basic computer courses? As you said, CMA is all about online exam. Well, it's important you understand how to use a computer. You don't have to be like an engineer or a software engineer or anything like that. As long as you know how to use basic computer applications like Word, Excel. You won't have spreadsheets on your exam, just FYI. That tool from the exam has been removed, but it's just good to, that will show you a level of computer literacy, right? If you know how to use Excel, Word, email, that kind of thing, you'll be totally fine. And the thing is, when you use an online test bank to take practice exams, an online test bank is very similar to your actual exam simulation. So if you're comfortable in an online test bank, you will do just fine in your actual exam. So Satyam, you're good. As long as you know the basic computer skills, you're fine. You don't need to take computer courses for the CMA exam. Another question is, should candidates be good in math? Yes, absolutely. It is accounting after all, so there's a lot of math. There are a lot of equations, a lot of ratios. So being good in math is definitely important. It's definitely important. But take it from me, I was never very good at math, but I got a lot better when I was studying for my accounting degree. And then for the CMA, I had to get really good at it. Otherwise, I was not gonna perform well. So it's important that you do know math. And if you're not that good at math, like I was, studying for the exam will help you, because you will have to learn how to do like advanced complicated calculations. And the only way to get better at them is to actually practice, right? And you will have plenty of that during your test prep. Great questions, everyone. All right. So I think we've answered all questions today. So I think I'll just wrap up the show right here. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And please get your exam cheat sheet. Is in the description box below. And that comes with a 3-part video training, and it's completely free. You'll get it via email in the next couple days. And I'm going to walk you through how to crush your fears. We'll talk about exam myths and what you need to do to ace your exam on the first try. Here we have one more question. What's the importance of artificial intelligence in the CMA curriculum? At the moment, none. You don't have to worry about AI. It's not a topic that is covered in the exam. But data and analytics for sure, information systems for sure, but artificial intelligence is not. Thanks for that last question. Bob is saying thank you for answers and your explanations. You are very welcome, my friend. I'll see you guys next Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific. But if you have any questions in the meantime, Nathan@cmacoach.com is my email address. Reach out to me anytime throughout the week. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.